What is the evil cult behind Japan's Prime Minister's assassination?
Not get involved in this!
Please take my daughter.
What?
We can't let him go back to New York. No, this is the last sacrament.
The assassination of Japan's former prime minister came as a shock to the world, but many don't know the backstory behind it. Shinzo Abe was the longest-serving leader in Japan's history, but just 2 days before a parliamentary election on July 8, 2022, he was assassinated by a 41-year-old man identified as Tetsuya Yamagami. The reason for this very bold move was due to Abe's ties to a much revered and, at the same time, hated religious organization called the Unification Church. At around 11 a.m. on July 8, 2022, Abe stood on a podium outside a train station in the western city of Nara, Japan. Behind him was a road through which cars and other vehicles passed, and in front of him was the crowd of people he was addressing. Many of his bodyguards stood surrounding him and ready to take on anything or anyone that might pose a threat. However, one thing everyone failed to notice was the solitary figure of Yamagami slowly making his way behind Abe with a handmade gun. In the twinkle of an eye, a gunshot rang out through the air, causing confusion and panic. This first shot failed to hit the target, but about 2 seconds later, another gunshot followed and Abe's fate was sealed. The shooter, Yamagami, made no attempt to flee and he was immediately tackled to the ground. Abe, on the other hand, had been fatally injured and was bleeding to death. At around 11:32 a.m., emergency responders were dispatched to the scene, and by 12:13 p.m., a helicopter airlifted Abe to the hospital for medical treatment. More than 5 hours later, Abe was sadly declared dead. He had died from injuries to the heart as well as the front of the neck. When Yamagami was later interrogated, he confessed that his action was not politically motivated, but it was more of a personal vendetta. He revealed that Abe's affiliation with the Unification Church was the sole reason why he killed him. This was a church that Yamagami had held some bitterness against for years, because he claimed it destroyed his life after his mother became a member. After this revelation became public knowledge, many Japanese, especially children of the church's followers, who had in one way or the other been affected by the church's activities, began to speak up and voice their bottled-up displeasure. In a way, Yamagami became a sort of anti-hero. So what exactly is the Unification Church, and why does Yamagami and several other Japanese have strong dislike for it? Let's find out. The Unification Church was founded in 1954 in South Korea by Reverend Sun Myung Moon. It was originally known as the Holy Spirit Association for the Unification of World Christianity, and its doctrine was majorly based on marriage and family values. Moon, its founder, was identified as the Messiah who will implant God's heart of love in his followers and complete Jesus' work. Due to the emphasis laid on marriage, it became common for the church to hold mass weddings in big open spaces such as stadiums and gymnasiums. Through it, members believe that the couple is freed from a lineage of sinful humanity that began with the fall of Adam and Eve. In the years that followed, the church spread to the West and developed relations with conservative world leaders, including U.S. Presidents Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, and George H.W. Bush. In the 1960s, the church established ties with Japan's governing party through Abe's grandfather, Nobusuke Kishi. At the time, Nobusuke was Japan's serving prime minister and was known for his anti-communist views. The Unification Church also shaped this view, and due to this, it became very easy for the church to gain ground and influence with Japan. Nobusuke's close relationship with the church and its founder, Moon, was not kept a secret from the public, and within a short while, hundreds of thousands of Japanese had become faithful members of the movement. In 1968, the church established a political group known as the International Federation for Victory Over Communism. Ryoichi Sasakawa, the founder of the Japan Shipbuilding Industry Foundation, was made the group's honorary chair. By providing solid political support and votes to governing parties, the church became increasingly popular amongst Japanese lawmakers, particularly those from the Liberal Democratic Party. It also became common practice for many of these lawmakers to attend events organized by the political faction created by the church. By the 1970s, the church came under scrutiny and began to face a lot of criticism for creating rifts between families as well as brainwashing its members and using dishonest recruitment tactics. As it turned out, there was some truth in the accusations. One thing about the church was that it was hell-bent on raising funds, and one of the ways it did this was by convincing members into buying goods that it claimed brought supernatural benefits. In addition, members were also encouraged to sell their real estate and give a large portion of their salaries to raise donations for the church. A large portion of these donations, running into millions of dollars, went to the headquarters in South Korea. Many people were not happy with these fundraising activities, which they saw as fraudulent, and due to this, the church ended up getting slammed with numerous lawsuits. Moon was eventually convicted of tax evasion in 1984 and served a prison sentence of 18 months. However, this did not have much impact on the growth of the church. Instead, it remained a force to be reckoned with even after Moon died in 2012. Yamagami's mother was one of the faithful members of the church who gave without holding back. A search of Yamagami's one-room apartment shortly after he shot Abe dead revealed everything that was there to know about him and why he had so much bitterness in his heart against the Unification Church. On his computer was a draft of a letter in which he poured out his heart and frustration. According to the letter, Yamagami had been feeling strong contempt for the church for many years. And this was for good reason. When he was 4 years old, his father committed suicide, leaving his mother to take care of the 3 young children on her own. At the time, the family was quite well off. This was because his father had left behind a substantial amount of money, as well as properties, and even a successful company. But things changed when Yamagami's mother joined the Unification Church. Within months of joining the church, his mother donated more than $400,000 to the church. She also sold her late husband's company property, worth close to $300,000, and gave out the money to the church. By the early 2000s, the family was bankrupt and was feeding from hand to mouth. Many people, including an uncle of Yamagami, stopped rendering financial aid to the family. This was because every little money that got into the hands of Yamagami's mother was sent directly to the church. Nothing was set aside to take care of her children. Due to the family's financial woes, Yamagami's hopes of going to college became a pipe dream. Amid the struggles, his brother committed suicide, and Yamagami himself contemplated doing the same. From 2002 to 2005, Yamagami served in Japan's Self-Defense Force. After his service there ended, he struggled to get a full-time job and shuffled from one low-income work to another. At age 41, he was unemployed and blamed his misfortune on the Unification Church. He then decided that the best way to make a statement was to take out a top member of the church. His target was Hokja Han Moon, the wife of the church's late founder. However, the pandemic derailed his plan. She did not visit Japan during that period, and he decided to change the target. In 2021, he saw a video of Abe supporting and praising the works of one of the church's related organizations known as the Universal Peace Federation. And from that moment, Yamagami began plotting out how to take out Abe. The rest is history. If there is one thing Abe's murder did, it is that it drew attention to the ties between the Unification Church and the governing Liberal Democratic Party of Japan. It also revealed how deeply the church was involved in Japan's politics. Due to this, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida had to immediately shuffle his cabinet and root out members that had ties to the church. The assassination also shed light on the children of the church's followers who have been left poor, neglected, and filled with rage just like Yamagami. Many have also expressed understanding and sympathy with Yamagami, and care packages were even sent to him in prison to cheer him up. In addition to this, more than 7,000 people joined a petition requesting prosecutorial leniency for him. At the moment, Yamagami remains in detention and is undergoing a mental evaluation to see if he is fit to be punished. It's not yet clear what kind of fate awaits him, but what he did led to a political scandal that will never be forgotten in Japan's history. Well, that's all for today. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll have a new video for you soon.